All right, let's look at section 5.4 where we want to multiply polynomials. All right, so the FOIL method is a method of multiplying polynomials that reminds us to multiply the two first terms, the two outside terms, the two inside terms, and the two last terms. So the first letter of first letter of outside, first letter of inside, first letter of last spells FOIL. So rearrange the we want to rearrange the factors to group the coefficients and to group like basis when we're multiplying monomials. Then multiply the coefficients and apply the product rule for exponents. To multiply a polynomial by a monomial, use the distributive property to multiply each term of the polynomial by the monomial. Then simplify using the method for multiplying monomials. To multiply two binomials, multiply each term of the first binomial by each term of the second binomial using the FOIL method. So that's actually, if you do this, multiplying each term of the first binomial by each term of the second binomial, you'll automatically be using the method called FOIL. And that's just an acronym to help you remember those four products. To simplify, combine like terms if there are any. To multiply two polynomials, so in other words, these may not both be binomials, multiply each term of the first polynomial by each term of the second polynomial. So you're really using the distributive property a multiple number of times. To simplify, combine like terms, if any. If there are more than two polynomials, then we use this procedure to multiply two polynomials at a time. So let's just look at some examples. Here I'm multiplying monomials. So I want to multiply 6x to the 5th times 7x squared. So I multiply the coefficients 6 and 7. I multiply x to the 5th times x squared. 6 times 7 is 42. X to the 5th times x to the 2nd is x to the 5 plus 2. So the answer is 42x to the 7th. Now let's look at multiplying polynomials by monomials. Let's look at this example where we multiply 3x times 4x minus 5. I'm just going to use the distributive property to distribute 3x. So 3x gets multiplied by 4x, and I subtract, since there was a subtraction in this binomial, 3x times 5. And then I use the process we talked about. I multiply the coefficients 3 times 4 to get 12. X times x is x to the 1 plus 1. Here I multiply negative 3 times 5 to get negative 15. And then there's simply an x that's a factor of this term. So the result is 12x squared plus 15x. Now when I multiply two binomials, I'm actually using the distributive property twice. So x has to get multiplied by x. X also has to get multiplied by 2. 3 has to get multiplied by x. 3 also has to get multiplied by 2. So notice I wind up with x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. Combining like terms gives me x squared plus 5x plus 6. So if I multiply two or more polynomials, I'm multiplying two polynomials at a time, and I'm using the distributive property. So the distributive property says multiply each term of the first polynomial by each term of the second polynomial. So x gets multiplied by 2x. I add to that x times 3. Negative 4 gets multiplied by 2x. I add to that negative 4 times 3. I carry out the products. I combine like terms, and I wind up with 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. So we'll look at this in more detail on the worksheet.